Inside the ultra-processed food problem, how modern diets got so toxic. We're breaking down what ultra-processed foods really are, why they've become nearly impossible to avoid, and whether they're slowly damaging your body without you even noticing. This is the truth behind the food on your plate. In today's video, we're going to explore something that has quietly taken over our grocery stores, our kitchens, and even our daily eating habits, yet most people still don't fully understand what it is. We're talking about ultra-processed foods, a term that has become a buzzword in conversations about nutrition, health, and the modern food environment. You have probably heard it from influencers, doctors, documentaries, and the media. But what does the term really mean? Are ultra-processed foods simply foods made in factories? Are they automatically bad? Or is the debate a lot more complicated than that? By the end of this video, you'll have a much clearer understanding of what ultra-processed foods are, how they are defined, why they dominate our diets, how they affect physical and mental health, and what you can realistically do to make healthier choices that work for your lifestyle. To begin, we need to break down the term ultra-processed foods because it often gets tossed around without a clear explanation. The phrase comes from the NOVA classification system, which separates foods into 4 categories based on how heavily they are processed. Foods that fall into the ultra-processed category typically undergo several industrial-level transformations, meaning they're not just chopped, cooked, or frozen. They're broken down into their chemical components, restructured, and combined with additives that most people don't use at home. Things like maltodextrin, flavor enhancers, hydrogenated oils, emulsifiers, artificial sweeteners, and synthetic colors are common features of ultra-processed foods. These foods often begin with extracted starches, refined oils, proteins that are isolated from their natural sources, or sugars produced in large industrial quantities. After going through multiple steps such as extrusion, molding, high-pressure processing, and chemical treatment, the final product becomes something entirely different from the raw ingredient it came from. It's not just bread, it's industrial bread. It's not just a snack, it's engineered to be hyper-palatable. It's not just a meal, it's a product designed to be convenient, long-lasting, and irresistibly tasty. Ultra-processed foods didn't become popular by accident. Their dominance is the result of a perfect storm of economics, marketing, technology, and lifestyle changes. As lives become busier, people have less time and energy to cook. Food companies saw an opportunity: create products that require almost no preparation, taste consistently good, last a long time without refrigeration, and cost far less to produce than fresh ingredients. Ultra-processed foods didn't become popular by accident. Their dominance is the result of a perfect storm of economics, marketing, technology, and lifestyle changes. As lives become busier, people have less time and energy to cook. Food companies saw an opportunity: create products that require almost no preparation, taste consistently good, last a long time without refrigeration, and cost far less to produce than fresh ingredients. These products are also extremely profitable because they use cheap raw material starches, oils, syrups combined with inexpensive flavorings and additives. On top of that, decades of aggressive marketing have normalized processed snacks, sugary drinks, ready-to-eat meals, and packaged pastries as everyday foods rather than indulgences. Another reason they're everywhere is accessibility. In many parts of the world, ultra-processed foods are simply easier to find than fresh produce. People with limited time, limited cooking skills, and limited budgets naturally gravitate toward them. The more people eat them, the more companies produce them, creating a cycle that is hard to break. One of the biggest reasons ultra-processed foods are hard to avoid is their design. They're engineered to hit the perfect combination of sweet, salty, fatty, and crunchy sensations that trigger our brain's reward centers more intensely than whole foods can. Scientists in food companies spend decades studying how humans respond to specific textures, aromas, and flavor combinations. For example, The bliss point is a concept describing the ideal balance of sugar, fat, and salt that maximizes pleasure without causing taste fatigue. Similarly, vanishing caloric density is a technique used in snacks like chips or puffs that dissolve quickly in your mouth, making your brain think you didn't consume many calories, prompting you to eat more. These foods are also designed to require minimal chewing, which bypasses natural satiety signals. Add to that the bright colors, attractive packaging, and emotional associations built through advertising, and you get foods that are unbelievably difficult to resist. This isn't a lack of willpower, it's by design. Some ultra-processed foods provide vitamins, minerals, fiber, or protein that people might not otherwise get from their diets. In some regions, these foods are essential for preventing malnutrition. So the conversation isn't as simple as all ultra-processed foods are bad. The real issue is the pattern of consumption. When diets become heavily dominated by these products, especially those high in added sugars, unhealthy fats, and sodium, the risk of chronic disease increases significantly. The danger comes from over-reliance, not occasional use. Now let's talk about the risks, because this is where the conversation becomes serious. Large-scale studies from various countries consistently show that diets high in ultra-processed foods are linked to higher risks of obesity, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, stroke, hypertension, depression, and even certain cancers. One reason is that many ultra-processed foods lack fiber, which is crucial for digestion, blood sugar control, and gut health. Without fiber, glucose spikes faster and stays elevated longer, increasing the risk of metabolic issues. Another major problem is additives like emulsifiers and artificial sweeteners, which some studies suggest may disrupt the gut microbiome. Since gut bacteria play a role in immune function, mood regulation, inflammation, and nutrient absorption, any disruption could have significant long-term consequences. There's also the issue of chronic inflammation. Diets high in refined carbs, unhealthy fats, and chemical additives can create a pro-inflammatory environment in the body, which contributes to many chronic diseases. And beyond biology, there's behavioral impact. Because these foods are engineered to be addictive, they can override hunger cues and encourage overeating, leading to weight gain and other health problems over time. One aspect of ultra-processed foods that often gets overlooked is their effect on mental health. Emerging research shows a strong correlation between high consumption of ultra-processed foods and increased symptoms of depression and anxiety. While it's not yet clear whether UPFs directly cause these issues, several theories explain the connection. First, inflammation plays a major role in mood disorders, and highly processed diets tend to promote inflammation. Second, disruptions in the gut microbiome can affect the production of neurotransmitters like serotonin, which is heavily produced in the gut. Third, the rapid spikes and crashes in blood sugar caused by sugary and refined foods can lead to mood swings, irritability, and fatigue. Finally, psychological dependency on hyperpalatable foods can create a cycle of emotional eating, guilt, stress, and further cravings. So while the research is ongoing, it is clear that ultra-processed foods affect far more than just your physical health. Improving your diet doesn't mean you need to cook everything from scratch or swear off processed foods forever. The goal is to shift the balance. Start by adding more whole foods, fresh fruits, vegetables, legumes, nuts, whole grains, and minimally processed proteins. Replace sugary drinks with water or unsweetened alternatives. Choose snacks with fewer ingredients. Try cooking simple meals a few times a week. When buying packaged foods, look for products with short ingredient lists that include items you recognize. Slowly, these small changes will build better habits. The key is progress, not perfection. Ultra-processed foods are not going away. They are deeply embedded in global food systems and will continue to exist because they're profitable, convenient, and appealing. But understanding how they work, how they affect your health, and how to make smarter choices gives you power. The goal isn't fear, it's awareness. When you know what's in your food, you can take control of your diet instead of letting convenience and marketing decide for you. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more science-based health content. And let me know in the comments, what ultra-processed food do you find the hardest to give up?